that's just my opinion, though. Use the milestones for getting, for when the characters get like better equipment, or their equipment becomes magical, stuff like that.
I'm trying not to give away too much information with the situation.
Yeah, the issue is with you giving like no information and just asking what do you think to anybody who hits the chat kind of deal, especially Killer One. You gotta remember, you're giving like no example of how it would work, how it would be seen inside the game.
Yep. The main reason why is the fact that the main reason why I'm trying not to give the information too much is there is a lore situation that I am trying to not fully divulge in a public stream. For when I do finally go into it, that I already had planned to some degree.
Okay, but that still is going to lead to questions like how are they supposed to give their opinion on how they would view it if it was a good idea or not without knowing the information on how it's going to work.
I will say this. Think of it more like a balancing scale than two competing elements for the same bonus. Potentially. That's the best I can give in heads up. But that probably produces even more questions.
Well, I mean, that makes me more so think of like that one short that we watched before, the D&D camp party, leveling up. And the guy is looking at this stat block of the bosses are about to fight. Level up again, and again, and again. You guys are not ready, and again, kind of deal. Like, that's just how it sounded like for balancing, is what he said. This is the problem with being vague on this kind of information. Like, I can understand it if you don't want to explain it for your entire party, but to be fair, this is me inside the VC. I am probably the least likely person to metagame your games.
Yeah, and that's where I'm saying more so because of being live stream, I'm trying not to fully tell details.
So, in that case, you shouldn't have just asked how anyone would view the idea of using both systems. You just said, hey, we're going to have a question inside Discord asking DMs.
Fair.
To get the information instead. So that way it's not expressed to the other members of potential party members that could at any point watch the VOD or the stream. Like, yes, I know a lot of metagaming tricks inside of D&D. Am I going to use any of that? Hell no. I play for the fun. I do not play the meta part of it. If I make a low-int spellcaster, I'm going to make a low-int spellcaster that's not going to make any sense, but somehow work. I already mentioned that to you before.
Yeah.
Also, I will point out, if we're going based off of that kind of stuff, you can technically cause my character to become brain dead if I make that. Because as soon as their int hits 0, they literally become brain dead and die. That's how any character is when their int goes down to 0. That's why mind flayers are so dangerous. Because they will turn people with a low amount of with a low amount of hit into death. They're just corpses at that point. By the way, me saying that does not mean I'm not going to play as a low-int character inside of a campaign that has mind players. I will run the risk.
I know you would run the risk.
I will run these feral hands against something. I just realized, Dragon.
What?
Thoughts on a low-int bard?
I'd rather not think about that right now.
He is not intelligent, but he's feral in the bed in more ways than one.
Again, I do not want to be thinking about this right now.
See him just once inside the corner. You don't want to know it? All of chaos, known as Luca secret. I mean, to also be fair, I am going with the more simplistic idea versions.
Yeah, true. And Luca,
What's up? As I'm doing my stalking focus.
I did give you a bit more of the detail inside your...
Oh no, I noticed. I didn't say anything for a reason. I didn't want people to know that I knew that.
Fair.
Because I'm not the one running your idea of the campaign. So, if I were to accidentally leak any of the information, that would be unknown now. Because I don't know who you plan on adding to those 10 campaigns. So I'd rather not be the one that's able to spread the information. Like, yes, you gave me the information, but I was being quiet so nobody knew.
Noted. But I was going to say the fact that does explain why I was vague inside the manner that I was, right?
I mean, yeah, but it's still kind of makes me think of really what the first thing I said was. Where maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. Only one way to find out. Let's hope we
Fair.
to be completely fair, the world of IO literally do their, I guess, spells, classes, world building, enemy types all the time before they actually have a campaign doing it. And when they do the campaign, they also have them voice what they think would make it better or worse for those classes to make it more balanced.
Fair, on that, and
It's
I
part of the
will at
reason why I've been
least,
trying to have you watch more of this stuff.
yep, I will at least say this. For with the campaign, I do have one thing locked in, lore-wise, that would be affecting everybody of the party that I can freely say. All the main party would be afflicted with a special condition referred to as the Mark of Dreamer's Hope. But
Now, would that be seen as some sort of like buff or debuff that's shown inside of, stats or abilities? Or would it
lore-wise,
be like a hidden thing that they would not have noticed until a certain event happens?
it is effectively something that would be acting as a sort of buff condition for on the manor.
But again, this goes back to me asking, would the players know about it, or would they find out about it from like it being activated at some point, direct from storyline?
The reason why I'm open about mentioning it right now is lore-wise, it actually would be something right away explained into.
Okay, but let me reword it to make it more understandable.
It's effectively how the party
With the
became the
player
party.
characters.
Yes.
Okay.
Another way of putting it is the fact, the stereotype where everybody's inside a tavern and stuff?
Oh yeah, let's see.
From making the
King,
group.
a group of adventurers came in. We got a human fighter, a Drakiri ranger, a sentient slime from outer space. Why are they doing here? How did this party be? In a tavern about 30 minutes ago.
I'm gonna just say,
That kind of stuff.
yeah, effectively, the mark of Dreamer's Hope for Onkeus is tied to how everybody meets. It's by plan.
Okay, so you're going to do something similar to like, hey, I got this symbol on my arm that glows when I'm next to somebody else who has the symbol, who's a destined hero for saving the planet, kind of deal, right? In like the most simplistic anime trope style explanation possible.
That is a simplistic way of putting it for On the Manor. Though, I will say this. The Mark of Dreamer's Hope does not glow for On the Manor. And the character building for the party situation, when I finally do get to forming the party with everybody, I will be talking with each person individually about their characters to some degree, building the characters with them for the base startup, to get information lore from them to work with for the story as well.
Also, yes, I think the most simplistic style of explanation to not give like to make it as vague as possible